Hello, I'm Pastor Reedley Peterson, and this is Growing in Faith. This is one of our key visions at Augustana Lutheran Church, and our chance to take what we've learned from our Bible study, in-person Bible study on Wednesday mornings, and bring it to you via video form. Well, today we talked about the first creation story, which is Genesis 1 to Genesis chapter 2, verse 4. It involves this 7-day period in which something amazing happens. Creation. God creates the world. And there's an interesting thing that happens. There's a lot of discussion over how old is the earth if God created the earth in 7 days, or what is a day to God? Is 24 hours, does that match what we're thinking about when we see what God has all created? And to get bogged down in those into those particulars is to miss the point of Genesis 1. It's not in the NRSV, but in the NIV translation, we hear the first 4 words, "In the beginning, God." There you have it. There you have the whole point of the creation story, and there you have a statement to which, if you have faith in, the rest of the Bible will come and fall in place. In the beginning, God. Now, the NRSV, the New Revised Standard Version, which is the common translation we use in the ELCA, says, "In the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth," instead of "in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." It could also be translated as "when God began creating." And what this tells us, and it's something maybe we don't think about, is the concept of time. The structure of time is also a creation. If you wonder, so where did God come from? Well, everything out in this whole entire universe was created by God. So where did God come from? God couldn't come from anywhere because God existed before anything else existed. God is the one who brought everything into existence. And I realize this is a little highbrow and maybe existential, but it's something to remind ourselves. When we ask where is God's beginning, all we can say is God's beginning is similar to God's ending. It goes eternal into the future, and it goes eternally into the past. God has and always will exist. There's no beginning, there's no end. That's why God says, "I am the Alpha and the Omega." The beginning and end are me, because there is no true beginning or ending with me. But the beginning and ending of our faith lives and our creation and all of this earth's creation, they go with God. And when we think about creation, especially in Genesis 1, when we get the structure of all these different things God creates, He creates light to show power over darkness. He separates the waters of the sky and of the sea, waters, by the way, which He will open and cause the great flood with Noah and the ark. He brings forth vegetation so that the earth can sustain itself. He brings the greater and the lesser lights so that we can understand what a day looks like, what a year looks like, establishes this idea of time and our understanding of time, establishes birds and animals of the sea, establishes animals of this earth, and then creates us in the image of God. And gives us a responsibility as people to carry out God's work in this world. God says, "I will give dominion to them over the creatures of the earth and over its vegetation." And we've seen dominion be misused too often that maybe we might be scared about that word. But what it means as far as dominion is that we are called to be the leaders of this earth. And it's true. Think of how much higher of a level we can think, we can communicate, we can build, and we can take care of our earth than any other animal in this world. So God gives us dominion. In other words, God gives us kingship. And if you want to be a long-lasting king, you need to be a good one. You need to treat your subjects well, and that's what we are called to do with our earth. That's why we're called not to litter. That's why we're called to really try our best to preserve the earth we have rather than let it go to waste and be destroyed. So in this story, it's interesting. It's not interested in time. It's not it wants to show you what God has created, but the main point of this first creation story is the idea that God created. God created. If you want to answer what is Genesis 1 about, what's the first creation story? What's it trying to say? It's just those two words. God created. So the question becomes with our own lives. Everything we have, our own lives, our own things, our family, our friends, the beautiful world we see out there as we drive by and walk around. If you ask the question, who created? The writers of Genesis 1 answer it, God created. How does that transform our lives? How does that change perhaps the way we live it and the way we see our place within it? And as people built in the image of God, how can we make sure that other people see that image of God, rather than an image of humanity, an image of faultiness, an image of pettiness? All things to consider from just one chapter in the first book of the Bible. I want you to really think about those. I want to thank you for watching this video. This is Growing in Faith with Pastor Reedley Peterson. Take care.